Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to episode 10 of our modded Minecraft All of Fabric 5 series. I have taken our inscribers that we had. We had one, and I made 6 more, very specifically making 7 of them for a reason. One of them is going to be our dedicated silicon press. One of them will be dedicated to making calculation presses, or calculation circuits. One of them will be dedicated to making engineering circuits. One of them will be dedicated to making logic circuits. And then each of these will be dedicated to making a calculation circuit. What? Oh, it's this one and then this one. This one will be take the calculation circuit and make it into a calculation processor. This one will be dedicated to taking our logic circuit and making it into a logic processor, and this one will be the same for the engineering. We're also going to take each of those and turn them into advanced inscribers using a couple of engineering processors and some iron and some iron hoppers. So the first thing we need to do, since we have 7 of these, is make 14 of the engineering processors. So let's see. This is the engineering processors. I have 1. I have 8 more diamonds. That's 9, so I need 5 more. Okay, put the excess back. So if we go to our engineering, oh, we actually only need 12 more because I forgot I had one in there. If we go to our engineering press here, the main reason that we want to do advanced inscribers, and I will show you just here in just a minute as soon as I get all the other items put in, is that the advanced inscribers allow us to have a little more control over the inscriber in a lot of different ways. And so the first thing I'm going to do here, this is the engineering, since that's the one we need right now. Let's break that. We'll go to our crafting grid and we will take the inscriber. Oh no, I need to grab more iron, and I need to grab some chests. So let's just grab all of these. Back to our crafting grid. We need, how many do we need? We need a total of 14 of these hoppers. So that's 7 for now. We'll have to get more iron, but then we use that to make an advanced inscriber. We need 3 more pieces of iron. Let's just grab another stack of it. Of course, my inventory is very full. No problem. Okay. So now we make the advanced inscriber. So the advanced inscriber, like I said, gives us a little more control. We'll put it down. We put in our engineering press. In fact, I'm going to take out that extra one, put it away just to get space in my inventory. Same with silicon press, I had an extra one. So now, before we could only put in 1 diamond at a time, now I can throw in an entire stack of diamonds and it will turn them into printed engineering circuits. So our goal is to get enough engineering circuits so that we can convert all of these into advanced inscribers. So I think the next one we'll do is this one here. I need 1 more engineering processor, and that'll allow us to turn, put these in a very specific order. That'll allow us to turn this into an advanced inscriber. The other thing that the advanced inscribers do is you can lock the slots so that we don't have to deal with that being an issue. So let's take this one out, go to our crafting grid, advanced inscriber, So now, this is our silicon one. We can put the press in. I have some silicon cooking up over here. I can grab this entire stack of silicon, throw it in here, and this will just make presses until all day long. I also have, if you note, I have 3 slots for acceleration upgrades. This one I can do 5. So in the future, once I have more technology, I can speed these up very quickly. Let's do one more here. Grab the ones out of here. So now we can put another one in here. We'll get 2 more, and we'll make this one an advanced inscriber next. So eventually what we want to do, once we have these all set up as advanced inscribers, is we're going to set up some item flow so that we basically will have a chest where we drop off all the ingredients. The item pipes will be smart so that they know exactly where to put everything, and then that will allow us to just drop and then go and grab back the processors that we need, because we're going to do a lot of these. We do not want to be micromanaging them. And eventually we will have auto crafting systems all built up around it, so that all we have to do is press a button and it'll make the circuits that we need. So, engineering, silicon, redstone. So now, as this silicon is printed, I can bring it over here and drop it off. It will make all the ones that I need. So I only need 8 more, so we'll leave that there. And the same with our redstone. And you can see it's slowly making progress on making what we need. Seems to be going very slow. I wonder if it's trying to make all 8 at one time. Well, we'll come back to it. We need to make more hoppers, so let's do that. Let's think about the math here. So we need 8 more hoppers because we have 4 more of these to make. Let's do that. And this. Oop, I made 9. Had one in my inventory. It's okay. Hoppers are something you're always going to need. We can just keep making these by hand until we can get the things we need to automate them. We're going to need more iron than that too. So let's grab another stack of iron. %. So I think the only thing I can think of is that is in fact making the entire stack at once, but I'm not sure if that's the case. It's not how I'm familiar with it, but that's okay. As far as the item pipes to move them around, I know what I've used so far is the item pipes from Industrial Revolution. I really like these. They also have filters that I can use on them. So let me go upstairs while that's finishing up. I know I have filters somewhere. I think that I have them in the modern industrial room. So let's head over there and check that out. This room definitely needs organization. Yep, so this is one of them. Here's the others. Okay. This should be finished by now. No, it is just making one at a time. They're just going very slow. Maybe it's a power issue because I was using... That's probably what it is. That makes sense. This one is draining all the power before it gets there. This one is... So this one is very slowly getting the power it needs. Okay, so while we wait on those to get finished, let's work on upgrading the magmator to its next level. So to do that, Actually, one thing I want to do very quickly. Alright, so I don't have that anymore. I want to do a crafting station. The recipe for it is a log with a pack. So I have a log. I'm going to drop off a couple things in here. Patterns should still be like this. So it looks like it's going off the newest version of Tinkers, which is fine. I specifically want a crafting station to put down here so that I can put a recipe for the advanced inscriber in here. So we'll take our 4 of these. We need 4 iron ingots in each corner. And then all we have to do is grab the inscribers, put the engineering presses in there, and keep going. So let's go with this one next. Okay, so in order to upgrade our magnator, let's check that out. To go to the next level, we need iron, we need 2 basic capacitors and a dielectric casing. So 2 basic capacitors, check. And then we're going to need 4 of these to make the dielectric casing. So we'll come here, turn 2 of these the other direction. Now we can grab our magnator, come here, and upgrade it. Not a huge gain in power, but it is some. So that might help a little bit. Go a little bit faster. The other thing we can do to help with that is to pull these out so that this one is not running. And now this one is going to run a lot faster. Good deal. Let's put this here. To do the next stage in our generators, we'd have to go to hardened. Hardened uses energized steel. Energized steel is made in an energizing platform with iron and gold. So energizing orb and energizing rods. So this is glass, dielectric casings, and dielectric rods. All very doable. And I think we need at least 1 of these, which uses quartz. And then it uses basic capacitors, dielectric casing, and a dielectric rod. So let's see if we can't get together the stuff we need for that. The only thing I'm missing there is the quartz, but I think I have some up here in one of these chests. Sure do. Okay. So we'll get some dielectric casings made up and get our energizing thing, our energizing rod and orb in place. So I'll come back once we have that set up. Okay, I have gotten, I've gotten an energizing orb and an energizing rod set up. I'm not quite sure how these work, so I'm just going to set them down and see if I can't figure it out. Can't put it there. Does this have to be on a wall? Maybe it has to be on a cable. That seemed to work. Run some power. Yep, it's sending some energy over. So does that mean that this is working? Probably have to pull out our manual to take a look at this. Thought maybe I could figure it out. Not so much luck. Oh no, it did work. Hey, look at that. We got our first bit of energized steel. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. So let's do that again. In order to make the next tier of the magnator, we need, how many? 5. So we need 10 of those in total for that, for each one, plus 8 more is 18. So in order to put both of our generators up to the hardened level, we need 18 of this recipe. And it looks like they just get power from the energizing rod, which slowly gives it the power it needs, and once it has 500, it's good to go. So we could either increase the tier of the energizing rod, or we could add more of them to draw more power. But that's a pretty interesting mechanic. It's very similar to the actual additions mechanic I've used in the past. So we'll keep making that and get all the energized steel we need, and we'll get both of these upgraded to the next tier. Okay, we don't exactly have the power to run all of these machines, but we have them all running. This one is making silicon. This one is making circuits across the bottom. And then the ones up top are making the processors from those circuits. So this is what the layout that I want to have them in for when I design this as a system that is automated, where I just drop in the material. So the idea is I'll put a chest right here, and in this chest I will put in silicon, I will put in redstone, I will put in gold, diamond, and Certus, and the system will be smart enough to know which ones get all, which things go to which places. I think that because of the way Applied Energistics works, let me test this real quick. I think that all of these will get power because they're next to each other. They pass power to one another, which means that I could do it like that. I believe that that is the case. We'll have to test that and be sure. But the that'll leave us free to do our wiring in the back for our item transfer. So the idea is that we will use, let me grab the item pipes. Let's just do this one for an example. So in this pipe, we want to just have certain items go in. So what we'll do is we'll put in a, did I put the wrong cable? Yes, I did. We'll put in the item pipe. Then we will take this retriever servo and put it in here. And then in this retriever servo, we can whitelist silicon to go in. So if I did that correctly, that should mean that whenever I put silicon in here, I actually need to connect the pipe to the top chest. Yep, that silicon got pulled out and got put into here because that's where it needs it. So any silicon I put in here will get put in there. I'll have to do the same for all of the bottom ones to set up retrieving servos for all the different things here. And then I'm going to have to figure out if I can do out on the same pipe or if I'll have to do out from the bottom to send the circuits, once they're done, up into the top. But we can have retrievers up here that pull in the correct circuit, redstone dust, and printed silicon out of the chest. And we'll just have all of these run an item pipe back into the chest to drop off the items as they finish them. And then once we're done, we should have it set up so that everything gets dropped off in this chest, and then finished processors get pulled out and put back into the same chest. Or we may make a second chest for the output. I'm not sure yet. But that is what we're going to work on here. It's just a matter of slowly getting all the stuff we need in order to get it set up and getting it all done. So we'll get that set up, and we'll also work on getting the energized steel that we need to get our power grid upgraded a little bit so that we can have enough power to maintain the inscribers. These do not need to run constantly, so it's just enough to get through to make the items that we need. But we need quite a lot of processors to do these 1K storage units. And then in order to do the next tier up, which is the 4Ks, oh, that's 1K super. 1K superstar. I'm not even going to get into that yet because I don't know. The next tier up is this 4K unit. We need calculation processors, and then if we look even farther than that, we will need, where is it? For this one, the 16K, we'll need more calculation processors, and then this one is used to craft this one, which also uses calculation processors. Now, as far as what the different storage cells do, if we look at these, the 1K storage components use, actually, let's look at the storage cells because that'll give us more information. Here they are. So the ME item storage cells. So this one does 0 of 1024 bytes, 0 of 63 types. If you look across, each one does more storage, but only the same number of types. And that goes true all the way up to the top tier. So this one here could hold 262,000 items inside of its drive, but it can still only hold 63 types. So the difference is that if you have a large amount of stuff you're storing where it's all the same items, these larger drives make sense. But if I'm putting 64 different items into the system, and I just have one of these drives that holds 262,000, it still will overload because it can only hold the first 63 different item types. So the best thing to do at the outset is to start off sort of in the middle, and then that way we can have a large amount of storage and a large amount of types. Because if we put 10 16K drives in, let's say, because that's how many a drive can hold, one of these storage drives can hold 10 drives, then we will get a total of 1.6 million items stored in the system, and we can hold 630 different types of items. But if we were to put 10 of these 1K drives, which are cheaper, we'd get 630 item types, but we can only hold 10,000 items. And conversely, if we put these higher end ones, which cost a lot more to make, if we put 10 of those in, we would get 2.6 million items stored, but we'd still only have 630 types. So what we're going to shoot for is to get to the 16K storage drives, which use these 16K components, which are all things that we can make, but are expensive. So we need a calculation processor for each tier, but to make 16 or 10 of the 16K drives, we need to have 3 4Ks for each one. So that's 30 4Ks, which is 90 of the 1K drives, which is 90 logic processors. So that's very doable, but it's a lot of processors to get completed, especially since these take a lot of power to make each one. But we'll get it there, and we'll get the drive set up, and then we'll start making the actual terminal so that we can start storing our items inside the drive system. Took a quick break from making our Applied Energistics setup because I ran out of food. dark. So I made everything I need to make a stack, well, several stacks of pasta with mutton chops. So we're gonna let that cook away. We'll come back for it later. Want to show you one last thing before I get back to work on the system, and that's where I plan on installing it. So what I did here is I got rid of the water because I have it over in the industrial side now, and I ran some electrical piping up. Energy acceptor is now giving power, so we can connect our system up here, and we'll put our interface and stuff up here, and then we'll be able to access all of our system from here, and we'll connect using Applied Energistics cables to all over the base and other areas as well. So still going to need to get quite a few resources together to build everything. I'm going to have to do a mining trip because I'm out of gold, but we'll get it there. Okay, I've made our crystal growth chamber. We've made some Certus quartz seeds, and you can see that rather than 20 minutes, because this crystal growth chamber is essentially 6 crystal growth accelerators around a water pool, is the way that it determines its calculations. It's growing much faster. So now we can take our Certus quartz dust, which we get from our Certus quartz ore pretty readily. If we combine that, we'll just do half a stack here. We combine that with sand, we get 2 Certus quartz seed for each of the dust, which means that when we put them in here and we let them grow all the way, for every Certus quartz dust we get 2 Certus quartz crystals, which is extremely helpful because we need a large amount of them. I'm still probably going to have to go do a large amount of mining in order to get enough to continue on with the total amount we need, but we now have the Certus quartz crystals we need. We do need to process some redstone, and from when I went mining, let's find our ores, check our ore bag. We have large amounts of redstone. We have redstone there, and then I guess we don't have the regular redstone in the bag here. Maybe we do. Let me double check. Sometimes it's hard to see those ores. Nope, just the deep slate, but that's fine. I have some somewhere. But what we're going to do is we're going to go process this redstone ore. We're probably going to use a macerator, I would guess. Redstone, crushed dust. And then that gets macerated back down into 1.5 redstone. So we're going to process some of this to get a large amount of redstone, and we'll get the storage cells made up. And when we come back, we should have a fully functioning AE system that we can start putting items into and do some crafting at. Took lots and lots of redstone, lots and lots of Certus, lots and lots of gold, lots and lots of everything. But we finally crafted 3 16K ME item storage cells, which means we can hold a whopping 49,000 items. Don't want those to go in. We're going to grab a few items here just to randomly see how this works. So you can see, as we put items in, they fill up in here. We can sort them by the number of items. We can change whether we want the big items at the top. And then we have a few different options here. Did make a crafting terminal, which means that if we want to craft something using the items in here, we can just do that. We can also select the item from over here and shift click it in, craft it that way. and we have this set up so that we are linked. So this side and this side match. Exactly how we want it. I do want, there we go, bigger terminal. So we're all set up. We do have a lot more to go with Applied Energistics. It's a much more powerful mod than that. But at least for now we have somewhere to store. I'm going to, in the future, I'm going to finish automating this setup so that we have it set up the way I was talking about, where all we have to do is drop the items off in the chest and it does all the other things. And we're going to set it up for auto crafting. Once we get into auto crafting, we'll be able to just select the processors from our terminal here and craft it as we need it. But that's all stuff for a later date, because we have quite a bit of other things to do before we get too far into that. Namely, getting some automated ways of collecting resources and generating a lot more power, because the larger that system becomes, the more power it draws. So you can see as we put those items in, this drive now has 8,100 out of 16,000 items, and it's already used up its 63 types. So it is yellow on the box because it has space, but it cannot put any more types in, and so items are going to have to go to the next drive. So if we put this bed in, you can see that one went blue because the bed went in here. Oh, one bed uses 129 bytes. I guess it's not exactly 1 byte per item. That's okay. We'll just keep expanding that as we need to. I'm choosing to put in the items from these particular chests because it's stuff I A, haven't sorted, and B, it's a lot of non-stackables. So I want to see how it affects taking up space. We're filling up pretty quickly just from these 2 unsorted chests, which is pretty nuts. One thing we will do to make it so that we don't use up hard drive space as quick is we will add the storage buses to some barrels and things like that. So for objects that we have large amounts of, we'll store them in barrels that are unique for them, and then we will not have them in the hard drive, but they will show up in here. That's going to be on another episode. We'll have to work on that. We also want to set up the dank storage. We'll do that in another episode as well. The next episode, I am going to work on getting some better tools and armor set up. And to do that, I want to get working with our Hephaestus, which is our fabric port of Tinker's Construct. I'm going to use that to make some tools that I can upgrade. I'm not sure on what I'm going to do as far as armor yet. I haven't really looked to see too many of the options. We can do some just some different levels of armor that are a little higher than our standard diamond armor, but there's also some other mods that add new armor that I haven't really looked into. We probably are just going to get some basic armor to get set up and go from there, and then we'll get into the other armors from other mod packs as we get to them. But I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Hope it makes a little sense how Applied Energistics works. It's a pretty complicated mod, but once you get into it, it gets easier. And we'll definitely be doing some more with it in the future. Like I said, I want to have fully set up auto crafting with Applied Energistics. And so we will get to that. But I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.